Who's on the phone number with 0743?
Dan McCartan.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be calling the WERMS meeting to order. I would have to take the computer over to the pledge if you want to do the pledge, or if you want to forego it, we can forego it. Yay, nay faces.
Move to forego the pledge.
Okay, I'll take the thing over to the pledge, or we could just say it to Lainey's shirt because she does have a flag like on her shirt. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Tom. Okay, Donna, would you please start the pledge? Flag of the United States.
I
of
pledge
America.
allegiance to the flag of the United
United
States of America and to the republic for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
visible, with liberty and justice for all. Okey dokey. Okay, the minutes from July the 7th, 2021. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes as is? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
When you make a motion, just say your name. So because some people I don't see faces, should just say your name that you're approving and not approving, whatever.
That was Dan. Sorry.
and who seconded?
I did, Eric.
Thank you. Okay, we have the correspondence from Chris. Did you want to highlight anything on the correspondence list?
No, I'm not getting a lot of stuff, not a lot of mail. So we have AMR EMS Awards nomination, something from Western New York Stress Training for Assisting Individuals, Hogan Whaley Statement of Services, more stress, Western New York Stress Training for Group Crisis, Lynn O'Donnell's resignation from the council. She's outside of our area now. Harris Volunteer Fire Company letter regarding downgrading level of care. Wyoming County EMS or core sponsorship renewal application paperwork. Someone's dying. More from Western New York Stress Assisting Individuals in Crisis, Advanced Assisting in Crisis, and then I just recently got a letter from Buff State regarding their ED collaborative agreement that I forwarded to UBMD. And that's all.
Any other correspondence that anybody knows about? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the treasurer's report from Madonna.
Good evening, everyone. I did send out the report. I hope everyone was able to receive it and download it. Are there any questions? This would be from July 1 through December 31st. We have the payments for the 2 invoices for UEMS, the quarterly invoicing, and Microsoft software annual subscription that it was recommended that I place it on this year's budget by the state. QuickBooks annual subscription purchase. Now we have gone to an annual subscription. It's no longer accessible any other way. I did purchase that for $199 as opposed to $350 for the year. I spoke to Lynn Ferrugia at the state, and I explained the situation to her that it's now gone to an annual subscription. This was not anticipated or included in our budget. She said I would have to do a budget mod, which I did go ahead and do that with her her approval. And she said to go ahead and purchase it before the sale was off and we would have to spend 350 as opposed to the 199. This is a necessary software program for the treasurer to utilize in with all our financials and reporting to the state. If anyone has any questions on that or anything else in the report.
Madonna, do you want to talk about the New York State tax
That's,
number?
I was just going to ask you, Carol, if you wanted me to address that.
Yeah,
at
why
this
don't you
time.
address that? And Brian, if you
Hold
got
on.
anything,
Do we,
Carol,
Brian.
hold on. We need you to approve the treasurer's report
Yes.
first.
oh, okay, sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say we need to vote first.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report? I see Brian's hand up. Second?
Second by
Christina,
Dan.
Christina can second.
okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Just stick your finger up
Aye.
or whatever. Okay,
Aye.
okay, passed. Okay, Madonna, now if you would talk about the New York State tax
Okay,
number.
the New York State sales tax exemption for our, for the incorporated. So once we incorporated, we had many forms that needed to be signed that were drawn up and put together by our attorney. And I believe Mr. Brunner was it the chair at the time? And he signed all the forms. We returned them. You recall that, Brian?
I do, yes.
Okay. Well, it came to my attention through Chris, our secretary, Chris Zemrick, that he must have gone to purchase some supplies at Office Depot or Office Max, and they needed us to fill out an updated tax exempt form, which I attempted to do. And in doing so, I realized that the number that we had was for the old entity before we incorporated. So I got in touch with the attorney to see or I got in touch with the state actually, and asked if we did have a number, if they could give me that information. They said we did not have a certificate yet. So I contacted Kevin Mahoney. They checked into it. And I do have the email from back in March of 2019 when everything was sent to us and signed and returned. And I believe it was returned by our attorney, but I don't know if the state just didn't receive it. So now they put together a new form, and I had Greg Gill sign that form. And so now that has been taken care of. That's being sent in. I had to provide some financial documentation also for our most recent fiscal year that it concluded the end of June. So I just wanted to let everyone know that, make everyone aware of what was going on, and we should have that, hopefully have that certificate soon, and we'll have a number for our in tax exempt status. Any questions?
I just, in terms of the paperwork that we filed, I do believe we filed, or Kevin and his firm filed on our behalf
Yes.
for 501c3 status. So not just the state tax exempt, but an actual federal 501c3, which
Yes.
should come with an updated EIN. I believe
Yes.
the EIN is not a New York State number. I'm pretty sure the
No.
EIN is a federal number.
Correct.
So both of those things should have, and you have those. So
I do have this
should-
here is the one for the IRS. We do have that, which a copy of this had to be included with the
With the
paperwork
corp-
that we're sending into the state. Mhm.
Yep. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
you don't need
So
anything from
we
me
should
then.
be all set. I just thought I'd let
Okay.
you know, make you aware of that, and, okay.
Okay, is there anything else, Madonna?
Not that I can think of at this point. Thank you.
Okay, before we move on, Kay, can you please identify yourself so that Chris can put it into his attendance record? It's hard to see your face. Or type it in on a comment to the side so that we know who you are, please. Okay, the Medical Advisory Committee. I really didn't have anybody who was in charge of this, and I kind of forgot who was in charge of this. So anybody have anything to say about the Medical Advisory Committee?
Carol, I believe that Greg usually reports on that. I was at the
Okay.
meeting and can report that there was a pretty significant discussion about the hospital bed delays and EMS being utilized to monitor patients at hospitals. The REMAC has agreed to, I
Okay.
believe they moved and seconded to change their policies. The policy now is going to require basically reasonable accommodation by EMS, but that the hospital should seek to put patients in beds immediately. And that failure to do so, EMS can take a bed, give an appropriate report, depart the hospital consistent with the federal and TALA regulations. So some good movement from REMAC to provide us a little protection there.
Okay, good, thank you. Do you want to continue on with the CMAC committee? The New York State Council, Ryan?
That's also Greg. I
Yes,
don't know if
I know.
anybody else listened. Okay. I don't know if anybody else listened in yesterday. Medical Standards had some lengthy discussions about policies and procedures, including updating the viral pandemic triage tool and enabling the regions to adopt that for periods of time. I don't remember what the final resolution was, if it was a 14-day or 30-day period where it would have to be renewed each time. So expect to see more information about that. There was conversation about the state free EMT classes. So the state is funding boot camp style EMT classes. I believe they're going to run over 4 or 5 weeks. One of those is going to be run in Erie County. So we saw that come out, and a couple of policy statements that we're expecting to come from the Bureau. And then I missed the afternoon meetings, so I'm not sure I can offer much more insight there. But yeah, I don't know if Greg has more of a report, or if maybe if the chair would indulge, Rob McCartan might have been able to attend all the meetings to be able to give a little more insight as our program agency.
Okay. Rob, do you have anything else to add in regards to the CMAC committee?
So it was pretty much a mirroring of the medical standards. Much of the same discussions occurring again. But I think finally things managed to get pushed through, and I believe it remained 14 days, Brian. So the viral pandemic policy goes into effect for 14 days and has to be renewed every 14 days.
Okay. Anything else? Does anybody have any questions for either Brian or Rob? Okey doke. If not, moving on, it's Erie County with Greg, which we don't have Greg. Does anybody else have anything to contribute in regards to Erie County? No. Okay, I see no offers. If that's the
Greg,
case, then Mr. Stryker, it's your show for Wyoming.
Sorry, I was
Oh,
just going to
sorry,
ask,
Steve.
yeah, did Greg offer a report at all? I know there was some issues with the SMART team.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, Bill, then whenever you're ready.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Obviously, like, everybody's dealing with the COVID issues and stuff. We're plugging along. High infection rates in our county. It did end up affecting our hospital for multiple reasons. With only having one hospital within the county, they did go on diversion for a short period of time, which actually causes a dominoes effect similar to out of Erie County, where volunteer agencies have longer transports and don't know where to take their patients actually without getting hollered at when they walked in the door. But we made it through it. Our ER is still generally overloaded. So again, we're just trying to manage and keep an eye on the hospital statuses. It's pretty tough when you have a county that sits in the middle and with the surrounding counties, and trying to maintain or manage what hospitals are available on that end as well. So it's a huge load on that part. We got a couple classes running. They're doing fairly well, plug along with all the different requirements. Another thing we did do, we conducted, everybody knows, staffing issues are a problem, particularly in the EMS community. We did have a pulled together, emergency management office pulled together and invited all the elected officials from across the county, town, village level personnel, as well as fire EMS leadership and all the EMS providers to discuss what the future may look like with EMS in the county. Pretty well received meeting, trying to come up with a plan for down the road for the future. To take a look and see what EMS is going to look like. Because across New York State, there's a ton of counties doing changes, making adjustments, different operating models out there. Niagara County is going through some huge hurdles, Orleans County as well, which is out of our realm. But so we're taking a look at that and looking at different models and see what may transpire. So, and a report if there's no questions.
Have any questions for Mr. Stryker? Okey dokey. Okay, Western New York Stress. Does have anybody have a report for them or anything to contribute in regards to Western New York Stress? Nope. Okay, then Madonna, we're back to you with starting of committee reports and the budget committee.
Guess I kind of handled some of what I had to do. I should have saved it like we had discussed earlier, Carol, for the budget committee. I had talked about the software that will have to be, the cost will have to be included in next year's budget in the new year. Other than that, at this point, I don't really have much to discuss as far as the budget. Once we do, if our committee's all straightened out eventually with members and meeting on the budget, I do have some helpful hints that had been given to me about putting together a budget, and it's pretty informative. So I'll hand that out to the members, and that at that point, I'll keep this for that time.
Okay. Is that all then, Madonna?
Yes, maybe our quarterly reports. The first one was submitted. The second one will be submitted shortly for the second quarter, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, membership, it was a blip in the agenda that Mike Shaw has been moved from an alternate to full. Welcome, Mike. Does anybody else, Christina, Brian, I think you were both on the membership committee. Do you have anything to add in regards to that?
I do. I emailed Ann earlier today because the latest list that I had was from January 2021. So she just sent me back the updated member list that does show Shaw as regular, which currently has Erie County with 13 members and 3 alternates, and Wyoming County with 10. So Ron Barrett, I thought, was elected as an alternate in July. I'm not sure, that was in the meeting minutes, so I'm not sure if that just didn't get updated on her list yet, which would put us back at 4 alternates for Erie County. However, also in the correspondence, I saw that Lynn O'Donnell resigned. So we should have an open, which should bump up one of those 4 alternates. I just don't know. It looks like 3 of them all came in on the same date. So I don't know. I guess I'd have to ask Ann when their applications came in to decide which one of those would be moved up first. I'm not really sure how that works. Which will then leave us with an open alternate in Erie County. But we do have, it looked like Josh Lemke put in his application back in May. So those are kind of the questions that I posed to Ann. She just said, here's the current list. I'll work on updates. So not sure what the status is of those, but that's what I know.
If all 3 put their applications in on the same day, then I would imagine that we would have to put those 3 alternatives to a vote of the council as to which individual gets full membership. Brian, you're also on the membership committee. Am I correct or incorrect on that?
Correct. I'm on the membership committee. I have no additional information. The only thing I would offer is I'm sure the bylaws have information about who is selected to fill on completed terms, and we should look at the bylaws for who should be the next one that moves into position. I think Christina might be right. The tiebreaker might be the date of application. And I doubt that all the applications came in at the same time. If memory serves, this is actually a staggered group, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, okay, that's what I thought, that it would be the first person to be thing. Okay. Anything else for membership? Does anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, go ahead,
have-
Chris.
Chris,
I have Ann's email, as I actually talked about this before. That's why I have the email that Mike was moved up. Sean Hausman's the next person to be moved up. So I
Sean
have
Hausman?
Mike Shaw was 320 of 19. Sean Hausman was 322-19. Brian 829-19. Ken Peterson was 95-19, and then we have Ron Barrett of 926-19. So Sean Hausman was be the next person to be moved up.
okay. Okay, so then I would imagine we can put that in front of the committee then. Would that be something we leave for new business, or would it be something that we can vote on right now and then?
If somebody makes the motion, you could vote it now.
Okay, I'm ready. Somebody want to make the motion for
Steve
Sean?
will make the motion.
Bill Stryker makes motion.
Okay, we got Eric, Bill
Right.
Stryker, and I think Tom also, Bearsy, all made the motion, so you can pick who you want, Chris. When you're ready, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good for
Could
the
I
picture
also-
as we see it. Then the motion has been made. I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, Carol. Could I also ask for a copy of the newest membership list from Christina that she received from Ann to send in with my report, my quarterly report? And then once we have, you know, a new update, I would submit that also. Thank you.
Sending it right now.
Thank you very much.
Can we redo that vote again? Can we, because Mike was never voted on to be moved up as well. That was per Ann
Oh, okay,
and what she told me. So I think we should include
Right.
both Sean and Mike in that motion.
okay. Yep,
That's appropriate.
yep. Well, we can do just a separate motion then, and we'll just do Mike by himself since we got the previous one done. So may I have a motion to move Mike Shaw up from alternate to full? Eric and Brian, I saw the first two.
Okay.
Hands going up. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I guess, Mike, you're a wonderful new committee member. Welcome.
Christina,
Okay.
seems as you're kind of acting for a report, can we get a meeting together for the membership committee?
Yep, I can ask. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. We also discussed some, which I'll bring in underneath the board of directors report in regards to membership. And if you want, I'll address that underneath the executive board report, okay? And then you can also include that in what you already know about, Christina, because you were at the executive board. Okay? But just bring it in forth of the entire council. Okay, anything else for membership? Okay, Brian, Systems Committee. Brian Balmer. I gotta remember, I got Brian Goyette here too, so,
No report from systems committee. We've had
sorry.
nothing come before us and no actions.
Okay, that's a wonderful thing right now. Okay, moving on, Chris, anything with training and ed?
The only thing that, I don't know if it was brought up at the state council meeting, we're not getting any updates on courses currently being run in Erie or Wyoming County. That's one of our tasks, is to make sure there's appropriate courses being run. And because it's now all technology driven, we're not getting any feedback from the state what courses are being run in our area. Do you know if that was brought up at all? Anybody that was there?
It was not, because training and ed didn't even meet, so.
All right, so that'll be something that's gonna be something that needs to be addressed, because like I said, I have no idea what courses are being run or anything by anybody, so that's all.
Chris, at the board of directors meeting, it was brought up about the portal. Is that accessible for you, or is that not accessible for you?
Which portal?
I have no clue. I don't know. It's just brought up about a portal, so
The course, are you talking about the course sponsor portal, Carol?
maybe. Whatever portal was brought up at the executive board meeting.
I have to look at my minutes. I don't remember us talking about, we were specifically talking about training, and that was going to have to be brought to the state council that we're not getting any access to that information. So,
Okay,
I think we had that as a question for Ed.
okie dokie. That, I think so too. And Ed, I got on the thing here for later, so get ready, Ed. Okay, okay, moving on. Are we done with training and Ed? Anybody else have anything else? Nope. Okay, moving on. Eric with bylaws.
Evening. I just want to apologize for the delay. Just unfortunately, everybody's been a little busy, as we all know. So hopefully very soon the draft will be out and out to the membership so they can see the changes.
Okay, that would be good because we have a number of things that need to be changed, including fiscal year. And there's a lot of things that we're acting contrary to the way the bylaws are currently written. So it'll be good if we can get that accomplished. Thank you, Eric. Okay, anybody else for bylaws? Anything else? Any other comments on bylaws or et cetera, or questions for Eric? Nope. Okay, next is Greg for awards and PR. Anybody else have anything to say in regards to awards and PR? Okey doke. Mr. Mager, it is your turn now. You're on the show. New York State DOH. If we got him here. Yep,
Yes, yeah, Carol, can you hear me? It's Ed Manger.
thank you.
Okay, good. I just have a few things. CMAX WEREMSCO was yesterday. You guys already reported on that. There are talking about EMT programs. The state is doing a statewide initiative where they're doing some academy style classes free to anybody that's interested in taking the EMT class. That's been published in on the Erie County site. There's some others that are in conjunction with the National Guard. And you'll see those across the state. Obviously, EMS system demand is high. Hospital drop times have been pretty significantly impacting the EMS system as a whole. The state has brought in some FEMA assets that have been deployed around the state. Mostly those units are being used for interfacility transfers that are greater than an hour away from the facility, or that all local resources are not available and have been contacted and have an inability to make those trips, so that we can either decant, open in bed, or help in patient placement and load balancing of the hospitals. 10 of those units were deployed to New York City, and they're operating in the 911 system. And the remainder, there's about 12 in the Batavia area, 12 in the Syracuse area, 7, I think, in Albany, and they are strategically moved throughout the various geographic locations based on demand. So that deployment was for 30 days. We'll see if that's extended. Our staff has been somewhat deployed to Syracuse. We'll be out of the area to New York City for about the next week, bringing in some additional FEMA assets to New York. So the only other couple other things, I just want to remind folks that agency renewals, there is no extension on agency renewals. So if your agency leadership or an agency's leadership changes, please provide an update form to us. We email out those renewal packets, and sometimes the previous transition in leadership does not get communicated back up to the state. And certainly I would encourage that to go to the program agency too for their portal. One other informational, just as a heads up, there will be the BLS first response registration requirement for any BLS first response entity that is in the CME program. That was planned to take effect January 1st. There'll be a guidance document that's coming out probably within the next 2 weeks. We're extending that registration process to July of this year. It doesn't change the date of the EPCR requirement, but we are, there'll be a guidance document that will go up, and it'll, Erie County was part of the pilot. So John McCartan and the program agency communicated with the BLSFRs and gave them access to upload to the portal, but there'll be a guidance document that'll go out from a statewide perspective. So look for that, and if there's questions, certainly you can let me know. I'll have to get back to you on the course sponsor applications that are coming in. I mean, really, Chris, the submissions that are going through the portal, I don't think you guys currently have access to. Obviously, you don't. I'll see what other information that I can get and follow back up on that, but I don't have the best answer for you, so I'm not gonna tell you something that's not accurate. So let me follow back up. Carol, you want me to talk to you, or just send that over to Zemi, or if I can get an answer before the end of the meeting, I'll follow back up. Is that okay?
Yeah, just send it over to him since he's training and committee chair, please.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Thank you. Any questions, let me know.
Okay, does anybody have anything to ask of Mr. Major or anything?
Hey, can you give us any idea of how the strike force is impacting this region?
Steve, can you hear me, or did it go on mute? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we are getting a daily report. There's been, a lot of out-of-town trips. There's been a bunch of interfacility trips, and there has been, I don't have the total summary of the trips that have been regionalized. We do get a dispatch log of all the requests that have come in. The demand in the Western region has not been as significant as in the Syracuse region, but there has been some demand. We do require that the sending facility contact the Surge and Flex line, and those transports are arranged. We tried, there's two paths that they follow when they call. One is that they have, a bunch of patients that they need to, they're having difficulty finding beds, which is certainly a significant issue right now across the state. So there's bed matching, which takes, quite a bit more time because there's lack of ICU beds, and, obviously admissions are extremely high, as you know. But I know your facility, AMR's been giving the facilities, some of the work to offset your workload. I'm not so sure if you're seeing a significant impact with that, but they're trying to cover as many as they possibly can without, taking away from the local resources. So I could probably get some statistics for you, and share that off, but I don't have it right at my fingertips now, Steve.
And thank you.
Hey, and it's Dan. About with the transports.
Yes.
So families don't want their loved ones sent, half or 3/4 of the way across the state.
Yes.
Who's picking up the bill for like that air transport, and then from picking up at the airport to bring to us? Is that bill getting sent to the families, or is DOH picking up that tab because they're doing it against the wishes of the family?
So any billing is not certainly not my specialty. I could tell you that all of the FEMA assets, ground transportation, there's no bill. These are it's a FEMA deployment. Those are sent. We do not have air assets that are deployed on this on the FEMA. We do have some statewide assets that are under the state mobilization plan, and we have assets that are directly from FEMA. Basically, and those assets there's no billing for those. So I'd have to get back to you on that. I don't know the particulars on a flight job that's coming in.
It was over the weekend. They were flown from Cortland to the airport, and then AMR picked them up at the airport in the flight team and brought them to our ICU. All we know is we've heard from the family is that, this wasn't their idea. They said, why are you sending our loved one 3/4 of the way across the state?
I will share with you now, Dan, I don't know if that was part of the FEMA deployment. I kind of think that it was a facility driven. I don't know that for a fact, but I will tell you that I'm happy to share. There's a Dear Administrator letter that went out. I'm not so sure if you've seen that or not, but I'll be glad to share that, and you can send that out. But it was the guidance document that went out to facilities to say, here's the scenario. This is how you handle patient movement. If a patient there's no opportunity for that patient at that particular facility to be transferred to another facility. There's a guidance document on that, that physicians could order somebody to be transported out of a facility, sort of not, not at their choice, but at the hospital's choice. So there's some guidance on it. Now, I'll be glad to send that off to Zemi. He can share that if that's okay. But I'll take that offline. If you want to send me an email with the particulars, I could do a little research on it, but I just don't have that information now. I wasn't necessarily aware of it. I'm not so sure that was a FEMA asset that was used there.
Yeah, and from reading the chart, I don't think so. We were just kind of curious because if they call complaining, the phone call is going to come to the phone where I'm sitting. So
okay, I'll send you. I'll find that guidance document. I'll send it over to you and Zemi can share that out just from the perspective of situational awareness. Okay.
Okay, Tom, you demuted at one point in time. Did you have anything to ask, Mr. Major? No? Okay, anybody else have any questions for Ed? Okay, moving on. Next is the executive board. We did have a meeting on December the 2nd here at Orchard Park Fire District office, and we had quite the meeting. Actually, it was a very good meeting. One of the things that we addressed was our lack of meetings in person due to attendance. We're not able to get quorums, and reasons as to why the members are disinterested, and also talked a little bit about individuals that we haven't heard from who are members, because of course individuals that don't come to the meetings or respond through Chris asking for an absence, they are not counted as a quorum. We need a quorum of a lot of people. It is more than half that we need a quorum of in order to hold the meeting. If it was just half, it'd be a little easier, but that is not the case. Anybody have any suggestions or input or anything in regards to how to get more membership to respond and also come to the meetings? Would be welcome to either Greg or myself or the membership committee. If the membership committee has anything to add in regards to that, I'll gladly thing. So the second was, we talked briefly about the hospital diversions. Remember, this was in the beginning of December when that was quite hot and heavy and most of the hospitals were closed down. And I think that's been addressed pretty well. Thankfully, things have changed a little bit, so there's a little bit more open beds, etc. added. We also discussed the committee chairs, and we are going to be requesting of the committee chairs to do a short summary of your committee, your roles and responsibilities with that. And basically that's to get an overall idea of what is thought of what your committee is for, and then also the function of your committee. The other thing that was also of a huge discussion was in regards to our program agency contract. That is due June the 1st. We have a committee that was established at the executive board. I am the chair. Christina, Brian, Don Turner, and Crystal are all members of the committee. We are going to be having a committee meeting afterwards, continued on Zoom. So if you so desire to stay around and learn a little bit more about it, that we're going to be reviewing the deliverables to make sure that they are applicable to today and adding in things that haven't been added in. This document probably hasn't been reworked in probably 10 years, at least 10 years. And anybody can correct me on that if I am mistaken. Mr. Major, one thing that was going to be requested of you was to talk about the future of the council as per DOH. I do not know if you were contacted at all in regards to this little speech you were to give.
No, nobody gave me a heads up that.
Okay, well, here's your heads up, Mr. Major. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, this is always good. Problem. Are you talking, so you're talking about the renewal of not only the,
There's been talk through the years of merging, of merging councils, et cetera, the program agencies merging them, da, 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 da. And I think that's where that was headed to.
I understand, okay. I can tell you that, I think that, COVID has, obviously got in the way. I know that in this particular, area, there's been a lot in the works between, the Lake Plains, program agency and the, UBMD program agency pertaining to, retirement that is occurring over at the Lake Plains. They had been in, communication for quite a period of time leading up to this. I honestly do not know the final approach as to if that has officially been, solidified, or if there's a true path forward on that or not. I will tell you that I do know that the contracts were, extended. As you know, the expiration dates of those contracts, and I know that Director Greenberg, and what I could probably do, probably better if I get Director Greenberg to perhaps join the next Wyoming-Erie meeting, if you'd be interested in that, and he could certainly discuss that directly with the council, or we could set up a conference call or something with the executive, board, or however you'd like to proceed with it, Carol. But I'd rather have it come directly from him. I know that there's considerations of redoing the RFP for program agencies and that kind of stuff related to the particular consolidations that may or may not be occurring based on the expiration dates. But I don't have the absolute concrete path forward. So I'd rather have you have a conversation with Lynn Ferrugia and Director Greenberg. I'd be glad to participate in that, but that'd be the best path forward on that. We're kind of all tied up in the midst of the pandemic, and as I know that there was some behind the scenes work about contracting and Office of Budget and all those other components that go on in the bureaucratic process, but I don't know what the finalization of that is. I mean, obviously there's statutory requirements, and if there's going to be significant modifications, that there'd be statutory changes potentially that would have to occur. But I don't think that that's in the works at this time. So I would say that let's get Director Greenberg on the horn. If perhaps the next meeting, if you'd like, I'll try to get him to attend, and we could have a side conversation with him and Lynn Ferrugia if you'd like. So you tell me how you want to proceed with that. I'll be glad to do that either way, just so you hear it from the horse's mouth, because he is the director. He's got the most accurate information, and I don't really get involved with that contract or anything to that effect. So to be clear on that. Also, I did talk to Jean Taylor from Training and Ed. She indicated that the Regional Council's Training and Ed Committee should still be getting applications from any of their core sponsors that are providing classes in the region. And that if you're not getting those, that you should reach out to those sponsors that you're not getting information from, and clearly establish that they're supposed to copy you on all course applications. So that would be the way to fix that. If there's any that I could reach out to you for you or with you, I'd be glad to do that, but just need to get that information. So perhaps email to the core sponsors from your Training Ed Committee would be sufficient to get people back on board with submitting those course applications to you. But Carol, if I had information, I would share it with you related to any consolidations or contract RFPs or anything like that. So, but I'm happy to get the director scheduled for a meeting, and we can go from there if that's okay with you.
I think what'll happen is we'll end up discussing it with Greg and then moving on from there. It was an issue that was brought up at the board of directors, and we'll find out what the motion wants to be in regard to that. Okay, Ed?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Any other questions for Ed?
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Ed? Okie dokie. If that's the case, the program agency report was distributed by Rob McCartan. Rob, do you have anything else to add?
So I did want to just kind of touch on a couple of things. I know it's been a while since since you as a council have met. So regarding the EPCR transition, I think in the end things worked out. For the entire region, we only have 2 agencies that remain that need to go live, but they've been having the conversation and have a plan of action into the state currently. So they're not in jeopardy of losing their CME program unless they fail to continue to communicate any changes in regards to that. So I'm continuing to work with those 2 agencies as well to make that transition. So Ed alluded to the vehicle registration program. That actually has gone fairly well as in addition to the transition. Currently, I only have 5 agencies that have been identified as BLSFRs that are in the CME program that have not submitted their vehicle registration in the portal. So I'm also working with them to get them compliant now prior to the July deadline. So I will continue with that. I did send an email out. One of the things that I've been doing is looking at the website and more or less kind of fluffing it to be more with the current times. And we've made some changes. I invite everybody to go on and take a look. We focus primarily right now on the officer resources tab, as well as the protocol tab, as those were 2 of probably some of the most outdated material on there. And with the, I know that you probably had many elections go on, so I wanted to make sure that we kind of had that information for any new officers that might be out there. Bringing that up, the portal, we've made a few changes to the portal. We've added a section in the EPCR next to the EPCR tab to include the name of the coordinator, their contact information, email, and phone number. Karen and I are going to try to kind of go through and fill those in. But if you happen to be on there making some changes, we invite you to fill that out yourself. And one of the things I noticed when I was working with the EPCR transition is there seems to be some outdated information in there. So I really want to encourage all the agencies to really go in and make sure that the information is correct so that we're contacting the appropriate individual and that we have the correct information. One of the things we came across is there were a couple of agencies where they stated they're not in the CME program, but when I reached out to the state and asked, they said, oh yeah, they're in the CME program. So I really am kind of confused. I don't know if they thought we don't do anything with it, it'll expire on its own. And in fact, they didn't. So I don't know, but please make sure to go in and update everything, especially after your elections. Today, Amy Eisenhower, who heads up the EMSC, had put out a survey request today to pretty much the majority of the agencies within the regions, both counties. It's about a 5-10 minute survey. I really encourage that somebody from the agency go on and just complete that survey real quick. As you know, this is where we end up usually getting some funding or have the potential of getting funding, particularly when it comes down to the children's EMSC. So vital signs was announced. The hybrid in Saratoga went well. I was in attendance. And the next vital signs is actually going to be October 26th through the 30th at the Empire Plaza in Albany. So if you guys want to mark your calendars, also the EMS Memorial, I believe was announced as May 17th this year. Ed can correct me if I'm a little off on a date. But I believe that was the announcement that went on. Every day I get emails ad nauseum regarding diversions, and I do my best to keep an eye on them because we're not directly notified that we have a hospital that went on diversion, other than getting these emails showing everybody that's on diversion. So I do my best to keep an eye on it. Over the weekend, apparently Brooks went on diversion. I somehow missed that, more likely due to the fact it's really Chautauqua County. But I think that it impacts Erie County. So I just want everybody to know I'm keeping an eye on those as best I can. And if I see something, I will definitely put it through the listserv. The last thing I really want to kind of touch on, some of you may have heard kind of through the grapevine that UBMD is now the main point of contact for the CARES initiative. So the CARES is the Cardiac Arrest Registry to Enhance Survival. And essentially that's a small, it's a website where an agency would go on because they had a cardiac arrest, and they would fill out certain information regarding that cardiac arrest. And then of course it's a data collection point where we can gather not only information from the state as we're doing, but regionally and of course nationally. This is entirely open to any agency that wants to participate. Here's the bonus. It is no cost to the agency because we became a state point of contact. That fee has been paid for all the agencies. So if you think your agency is interested, please reach out to me. I will send you to my CARES point of contact, and she will get you all set up. She's more than happy to have a phone call, a web session to explain everything, to show you everything. She actually loves to talk about it, so please feel free. The last thing that I wanted to mention, and I think there was some chatter about the word portal. One of the things that actually came out is the new CME portal. Okay. So currently, when you submit CME applications, you can still do it via mail, or you can use the new CME portal, which allows you to upload all the documents electronically, and then you still get a receipt that comes back to you saying that it was submitted. And that's really the direction that the education department is now heading to, eventually to go to that for all CME submissions. But I've had people approach me saying, hey, I heard we can't submit through the mail anymore. You can, but I would encourage everybody to now use the CME portal. Okay. The instructions under the Officer Resources tab, I created a new CME tab. It has the link to the portal and the instructions for that, how to upload. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take any questions, but that's the end of my report.
Okay, any questions for Rob? Okie dokie, if that's the case, we're gonna move on to old business. The only things that I pulled off the minutes, the previous minutes, was again, the application from Joshua Lambeatley that Christina referred to. I don't know if we can move on that to vote him in as an alternate or whatever.
I don't know if she's received anything else since. She didn't respond to my specific questions.
I move to table the issue to the membership committee,
agree.
addressing it now. We just don't have enough information.
I agree.
Okay, that's fine. And then the other thing too is the UBMD contract, which I alluded to during the executive board report. And the committee will be meeting on that right after this meeting. Any other old business that anybody can think of? Okie dokie, moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? No. Okie dokie. Then in that case, our next meeting is March the 2nd, 2022, hopefully at the South Wales Fire Department. And at 6 o'clock, and we will plan on hopefully seeing everybody there. Please report to, please, when Chris sends out the initial email requesting if you are able to attend or not, please do that. We have implemented a deadline of Monday morning, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, for responses back, so that we know better and adequate time if we have a quorum or not. We will have to get this contract done, so we will have to continue to meet over that. Hopefully we can get this, the committee tonight can get our deliverables banged out, and then we can look at possibly going and looking at RFPs for program agencies. Anything else? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Okay, I saw Eric and I saw Tom. Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you very much for attending, and my committee, if you can hang on, that would be phenomenal.